Hi, Ms. Topham. So this is my process reflection statement, and I'm doing it in a video format because I was typing it earlier and I was spending so much time trying to think of the perfect word for everything, and then I started saying it out loud, like in the shower, and it just flowed so much more easily. So I think I'll be a lot more articulate with my thoughts if I do it in a video format. Um, so the title of my portfolio is a sea of red herrings, and it's a double entendre because, of course, a sea of red herring is a fish. But then also, a red herring is a literary device, which is a clue, or sometimes like a clue, or something that's just misleading, or something that tries to deceive you. And I think that's been very prevalent in in my discovery of writing this year because for a lot of my pieces there was the obvious route and the route that maybe I would immediately take, but I think that was trying to see me for example, one of the first pieces we did, the name piece, I think the my at least my instinctual thing to do was to just say this is why I was named my first name, this is why I was named my middle name, this is why I was named my last name. And instead of that, I looked past that red herring and I decided to go with what effect has my name had on me. So, in my piece, Born in the Purple, I look at how the heritage or the etymology of my middle name sort of shaped me to be who I am today because it shaped my identity because I really identified with being German and doing everything German because my middle name is Frederick and that's obviously it's a German middle name, and it turned out that I'm not German, so that was very much, though minor, an identity crisis, and I think that is what I produced is so much more successful than what I would have if I just did the my name is Peter. This is why I was named Peter. My parents fought over my middle name, and I was really satisfied with how that turned out. Another piece that I kind of struggled with was the spoken word poem, mainly because that's something unlike anything I've ever done before. I mean, we did the speeches sophomore year, but that wasn't at all like this, but a spoken word poem. Um, it was interesting because I do a lot of poetry, but it's more visual and you're reading in your head and actually saying it out loud is so much different than just reading it. So when I was writing it, I would constantly say the lines out loud, say how they sounded in conjunction with each other, and it was so much more helpful. And I started doing that with my other pieces too, reading them out loud. And when you read them out loud, you hear so many more flaws and like things you need to change, and just in terms of flow and rhythm, even in a narrative, because flow is still so important in a narrative. In my other poem, specifically Burgund, um, I really wanted to make a rhyming piece because I think that rhyming pieces are very challenging because when you have a rhyming piece, you have to find the perfect word, and a lot of times it feels forced. I know that in a lot of past pieces that I have reread from sophomore year, junior year, freshman year, when I tried to do a rhyming piece, it sounded very awkward and very, very forced. And I really wanted to, in a way, conquer rhyming pieces. And I spent a lot of time formatting it and choosing the perfect words. And I think that I was successful. I didn't want to do a rhyming format where I would have to uh, throughout the piece repeat the same rhyme, like no, go, low, so because I think that's when it gets really limiting. So I did the a format of each stanza has four lines, and it goes A A B B, and then next stanza C C D D, and I think that really allowed me to not force my rhymes and make the rhymes enhance the piece and not limit it. So the first piece I actually wrote for this class was the expanded journal entry from over the summer, and it was a journal entry I wrote near the beginning of the summer, and I revisited it because I think it was my most interesting journal entry, and it's actually about a friend, and I'm talking about the piece Autumn. Um, and originally I wrote the piece as a sort of narrative, but as I read it, it didn't really read as a narrative because it was very much a character analysis piece. And so I decided to change it into a poem, but wanted to make it a very concise poem, a very short one that doesn't need a lot of words, and each word is chosen very carefully because I tend to um, go on and on and on, and I wanted to reel that back and try something different because that's an obstacle that I face. I need to choose each word carefully. I've been really trying to do that this year with my writing, choosing each word carefully and making sure that each word has a purpose and each letter has a purpose, and everything working together, and it's not just, oh, I don't know why I put that there. I want everything to have an intention. Um, and a really helpful piece of advice that you gave me about this piece was I originally had a lot of short, um, fragmented stanzas. I think there were like 3 lines in each, and there are just a bunch of them. And you suggested to bring them together into 3 bigger stanzas because it didn't really read well. At first, it was very fragmented, as in each stanza was its own entity, and you just hopped from one to the other, and the readability wasn't very good. And I think it's so much better now that it's 3 bigger stanzas. It's so much more readable. It flows so much more, and yeah. One of my favorite pieces that I wrote was actually a poem called Non Liber, and it was a song piece, and it was written about 99 red balloons, or 99 Luftballons by Nena, and that was the first song that popped into my head actually. And I also thought it was perfect because I have an art piece that is in my portfolio online next to the poem. Uh, that is a bunch of balloons, so it just seemed perfect at the time. And the song is about war, and when you first hear the song, it's kind of like a peppy-ish song, like you don't expect it to be about what it is about, and I wanted to kind of keep that theme in my poem. Uh, but I also wanted to look at it differently, so I looked at the balloons, from the position of hanging onto them and sort of wanting to stay onto them, but then having them pop. Um, and it was really hard to do, uh, and I never felt like this poem was really coming together until I put near the end, well, not near the end, near the middle-ish, pop, 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 and fall, fall, fall. I think that's my favorite part of the entire poem because through this poem, I looked at the formatting of poetry differently because I don't, prior to this year and prior to having to look at writing differently and explore different options and try different things out, I don't think I would have done that. Um, I think I would have just stuck to the typical, like 5 stanzas, rhyming, well, not rhyming, but just like the typical poetry format where it's center aligned in the middle of the page, not to the left. Um, and I think that this poem really helped me grow in terms of being a poet. I've grown more this year as a writer than I have, well, as a creative writer, more than any past high school year combined. Because when you write creatively, or at least when I did freshman, sophomore, junior year, it was once a week, writing workshop. You sit down, you kind of joke around, you laugh with your friends, and then it's over, and then you like fake it at the end. It's very much an afterthought of the class. And then when you get to creative writing this year, when I got to creative writing this year, it was writing workshop every day. It's all you do. You have to focus on it. Uh, and like I couldn't fake it. I had to do it. I do the journal entries every day, which really grew on me, and I really enjoy a lot now. I'm still gonna keep doing them. But you're forced to do it every day, and I think just by doing it every day, you grow so much more because you don't have the opportunity, whereas in past years you could just forget about it in like the week and then get there and then go do the cycle again. This year, by doing it every single day, I was always engaged in my pieces and I was always thinking about them, and wasn't given the opportunity to just forget about them and brush them aside. They were always there, and that helped me grow so much as a writer. And I realized the importance of doing something, not only writing a larger lesson, doing something creative every day, because you're just so much more engaged with everything and engaged with yourself, and you feel so much better, and you're so much more creative when you actively channel that into your life every single day. And I think that is the overarching lesson that I have learned from this class. Not necessarily about writing, although it's very applicable with writing. I think in just general, being creative every day and in everything that you do. Well, thank you for listening to this video, Miss Topham. I hope it was articulate enough, and I hope I was able to express what I'm feeling in my journey throughout this semester and sort of how I've grown as a writer for this year. So thank you.